Yet. Okay. Oh, I think Brandon is still eating food. That's valid.
I'm not. I have a. Hey.
That was the not me.
All right. We are live.
Woo! All
So,
right.
how's it going, Emily?
It's been good. I mean, I've got vet school finals this week, so I probably shouldn't be talking to you for literally 5 hours today, but that's fine. This is much more fun.
Fun's better.
Yep, it's
He's
definitely better.
always late. You know, I can see all y'all's comments that like I've been watching you guys for the last 3 minutes. So
True. We've been here. We've been watching you. That sounds creepy. It probably is creepy,
it is
but we
creepy.
know it.
So hey, look, Miranda made it to one of my lives. How awesome is that?
Look at that.
Look at that. I'm not always late. How dare you? Buckeyes used to be so nice to me. I don't know what happened.
It's because he's Team Emily. That's why, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
He switched over to my side.
So for those, 'cause this is your first YouTube live with me.
Yeah, it is. This is my first one on YouTube specifically.
Yeah, let me turn your volume down.
Instagram stuff doesn't get saved, so we get to pretend like it didn't happen.
It's true. I'm turning the wrong thing down. I need to turn your volume down. You're way up high. So
Sorry.
no, it's not. It's. I can't tell. It's. I'm just looking at my audio mixer and it's like flying into the red. I forget when I set up a new one. I always have to do that. So
Gotcha.
so for those who don't know you,
Ah,
who are you?
okay. So, my name is Emily. I am a full-time veterinary student at the University of Illinois. I run Eckelberg Exotics, where I primarily, at this moment, I breed gargoyle geckos, and I have a lot of isopods, which I actually, if you go follow my Facebook page, shameless plug, which is linked below right now, and you like it, and you look at my most recent post, in the last hour, I posted my isopod availability, and if you mention this YouTube video, I will give you 10% off. Shameless plug. So I have isopods, and I often have gargoyle geckos. I've got hatchlings right now, so I'm just waiting for them to grow a little bit before I list any. I also have ball pythons, Taiwanese beauty snakes, Dumerils, boa constrictors, which is super fun.
Yeah. Thanks for
I work for
stopping in,
Cold Blood
Dave.
Cafe. Yeah, Cold Blood Cafe is awesome, and we're also running a sale there. $30 flat rate shipping. You should check them out.
You
They're very
should.
sweet.
You should. So, um, and before we get too far into it, how we met was at Tinley Underground. So we were two of the lucky ones who actually stuck around after the world went to hell. And
Yeah, the last minute.
yeah, we really kind of ran into each other when she was selling bugs in a parking lot in the snow.
It was snowing in a sketchy parking lot, and here we were.
And then there we were, and it was best friends at first sight, and then she stole my snake,
It's true.
and um, but and here we are. We're almost 2 months later, and we've been having a lot of fun getting to know each other and working some similar projects with ball pythons, and we've had some pretty interesting lives on Instagram.
For sure.
So
Always.
and then she's also a member of our little uh, conglomerate, if you will,
Yeah.
called Dabbed. So there's a group of
Yeah.
us that are
Forever.
all together and gonna be working some cool shows together coming up in the future. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
It's going to be sweet. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. So for those of us who are completely ignorant in the world of bioactive, what exactly does that mean?
So, a complete bioactive enclosure means that it is a total little ecosystem within that tank. And so, the way that you do it is you set it up with a drainage layer, and you've got soil of different types, and then you've got live plants, and then you have little bugs in there like isopods or springtails, or I also have millipedes. Some people do all sorts of things, but those are the basics. And that way, when your animal poops or sheds or anything else, all of those bugs eat it up, and so you don't need to clean anymore. It's great. It also holds humidity better, um, things like that. You have to hand mist it on it or water it, but I also have a mist king system, so that does it automatically for me, and it's great. That's what I have all of my adult geckos in at this moment, and I'm working on more not hatchling setups as well, but I've got some like mid-sized gecko enclosures as well.
Okay. And what are the benefits of that?
So some of the benefits are, so I'm a full-time vet student, right? This is like one of the most, and I'm at University of Illinois. It's one of the most difficult graduate programs in the country. And so I will spend any amount of money, not any amount of money, that's a lie. Um, but I will spend the money and time initially to set up something that takes me less time over time, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so since there's no cleaning of any of these enclosures, it's great because all I have to do is if I want to clean the glass, I can clean the glass. But other than that, I'm really just taking out food bowls. Because, and some people even use ones that you can throw away, like bottle caps or things like that. I just use little like, I don't know, they're like rubber bottle caps. I don't know why anyone wouldn't finish their beer and use one, but apparently there's these little rubber bottle caps that you can stick on your beer to save it. But I bought some of those for super cheap, and I use those as food bowls. So I just wash those out, and that's all I have to do for cleaning at all. So that's a huge
Wow.
benefit there, and it holds humidity really well. So I don't have to worry about that as much for species like the New Caledonian geckos that really want 80% humidity all of the time.
Yeah. So could that be beneficial on a large scale?
It depends. So it's very space consuming. And so if you're someone who has hundreds and hundreds of geckos or snakes, that would probably be difficult unless you have a very large building. My eventual dream is to have someone build huge PVC enclosures that span across walls and are maybe, for the geckos, maybe this big by this big because they're arboreal.
Right.
And have lots of them on a wall. Right now, I've got a bunch of tanks that are next to each other on shelving units because I'm a college student living in a condo.
Right.
But it takes up a lot of space because of all the lighting and things like that. That's another benefit is all the lighting you can get versus rack systems. So I like that a lot. So I think that it would be difficult to set up on a large scale, but I think it's super beneficial to do so, and I want to really experiment with that as I go forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So
I know you wanted to ask about snake stuff too, right?
I did. So yeah, like what so for example, obviously I breed ball pythons.
Right.
Would it make any sense for me to do something like this? Would there be any benefits for me?
The short answer is that I don't know. The long answer is that I have Dumerals boa constrictors,
Right.
and they are not breeding size yet, but they are. The older one I have is 2 years old. And I tried this with her in a 70-gallon tank.
Okay.
So that I had enough space and I had a drainage layer, and I had isopods. Peacekeepers do really well in slightly more arid conditions.
Yeah.
There's all the isopod species do well in tropical or arid, or there's all sorts of types that you can choose from. So I picked the right isopod species and things like that, and I planted all my plants. But Dumerals are ground boas, and they dug up all the plants basically by, going around, and so they uprooted everything.
Oh man.
She didn't really care. She didn't really need the humidity, so that wasn't a huge factor. And snake poop is big, and they have a lot of pee, and so it's hard for that. So it's hard to. So I decided to not put her into I took them out of the bioactives because they were kind of destroying it. If I was going to do it, I needed to redo it anyways.
Right.
But I think what I've learned since then is that I've been producing a lot of millipedes.
Mhm.
So don't get centipedes. Centipedes are bad for a lot of reasons. They'll eat your plants, they'll eat your animals, all of the bad things. Don't
Yeah.
get centipedes. But millipedes are not. And millipedes consume a lot of things. So I have more millipedes than I know what to do with. So anybody wants some, hit me up. But what they consume so much. And so I'm considering going back to a partial bioactive with some of my snakes, where I don't have live plants. I still have fake plants and things, but I do have dirt and maybe some reptichip in there. So like a mix of topsoil and some sphagnum and some reptichip.
Huh.
And I still have a drainage layer, just so that I can miss stuff if I want not to think about it. Um, but and then having isopods and then millipedes in there. I've also considered beetles, because beetles, like superworm beetles, will consume a lot more excrement as well. Um, but also they bite. I haven't had any bad experiences with the snakes or anything, but they've destroyed plants when I've had them in bioactives with plants and things, just because they eat anything they can get their jaws on.
Right.
And so I don't want to risk it with the snakes, where the millipedes are not going to do that. So I've thought about experimenting with that and still spot cleaning like big piles of things, and seeing how gross they get. Because the thing with the bioactive is that you can't go through it and do a deep clean, because that destroys the entire purpose. Then you get rid of all your bugs. So if it gets really gross, you got to start over again.
Yeah.
And all of that initial money and time you went into making this beautiful setup and paying for these bugs, maybe, which you don't have to buy expensive bugs. There are lots of designer beautiful bugs that hang out and you love to watch. And some people buy isopods just for the pets, and they're really good pets for especially little kids and stuff for that reason. It doesn't have to be expensive, but still you put money and time into designing all of this. And so if you're going to deep clean it, that you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
And so the goal is to not have to deep clean. And so you've got to find the right bugs, and the bigger the snake gets, like a boa constrictor or an adult ball python, things like that, you really have to be able to handle that load. So you're probably still going to have to spot clean, but I'm kind of I'm going to start experimenting as soon as finals are over, ideally, with all of that.
Nice.
So,
yeah. So what's an isopod?
So an isopod's a roly-poly bug. So you go outside and you find those little roly-poly bugs. Those are isopods.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's all different kinds, and if you've never learned about the world of isopods, it will blow your mind. I didn't know about it 8 months ago, honestly. Well, maybe a year ago at this point.
Wow.
But there are bugs that are $25 a piece. Imagine buying a roly-poly bug for $25 a piece, and there are ones that are more than that too. I don't have anything that expensive. The stuff that I've got is maybe the most expensive stuff I've got is maybe $1 a piece.
Oh
plus
man.
shipping. Like still, like that's a lot for a little bug.
That is a lot.
But those are currently kind of paying for the rest of my collection right now, because once you have them, they are parthenogenic, so they don't really have a gender. Maybe they do have a gender. Maybe they're just all female.
It's 2020. Yeah.
They reproduce like crazy. They don't need each other to even reproduce. So once you start off with 20, and then all of a sudden you have 1,000.
Oh my god.
And I mean, as long as they're in the right setup. So if you buy 8 of these $25 bugs, you spend all this money, but what if it gets too dry? Or what if you haven't figured it out yet? So I definitely recommend, if you're going to start keeping isopods, I think it's great. But I would start with things that are not super expensive, because then if you mess it up, then it's okay, and you can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just a murderer of cheap animals.
Well, it's not great, but at least they're bugs.
I know. At least they're bugs, and we normally just step on them anyway, right?
Exactly. It's fine.
Yeah.
And some of the bugs that I sell were things that originally descended from things in my backyard. So like A. vulgare, those are like not the cheapest bugs I have, and all the ones that I have originated from my backyard in Madison, Wisconsin when I lived there.
Stop it.
So I'm not kidding. I'm not gonna lie to you about it. Like, that's how it goes. Like, if you want to go collect isopods, like, make a few bucks. It's really not that bad. And once you figure out how to keep them, there's lots of humidity things and just like air regulations.
Yeah.
But I keep them in little, basically hatchling ball python tubs with a couple holes in the side with dirt and sphagnum and leaf litter. And then what I do that is different than probably most people is that, because I have so many geckos, and I have leftover gecko diet whenever I clean out all of the cages. And so all of that gecko diet in those dishes goes to my isopods.
Nice.
So my isopods like have extremely expensive diet, essentially, even though it's just like leftovers of what I had. So they reproduce like crazy. They love this stuff. That's good.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So if you were gonna walk somebody through, like someone as dense as I am, into getting started with trying to set up a bioactive enclosure, where would you start? Like, what would the first steps be? And how, I guess, how small or large do you have to go to get started with that?
So the first place I would start is there's a Facebook group that is called Reptile and Amphibian Bioactive Setups,
Okay.
RABS for it, RABS. And they have a bunch of different groups that are all kind of related, but that's the main one. And they have so many guides for so many species,
Okay.
tropical species, desert species, all sorts of things. So the tropical species are the easiest for sure to keep, because that's the easiest to keep bugs alive in, is warm, moist environments.
Sure.
And so those are the easiest, but they've got all sorts of things. And that's where I still go when I go to a store like Lowe's. That's where I get my plants, is from Lowe's, usually the clearance rack. And so if I'm like, is this safe? Because if a species of lizard or something eats plants, which isn't an issue for snakes, obviously, then what if they eat it? Is it going to be toxic to them? And so I'll still look that up every time I go to Lowe's, is pull up that group, and you can ask questions in there. I still do that sometimes. I've been doing this for a little while now, I guess not that long, but I've done a lot of experimentation. So that's where I would start, is with that Facebook group. That's where I wish I had found that when I first started, because what I ended up doing is I went to Josh's Frogs, and they've got tons of good information and good products, but I bought a lot of they've got bioactive like soil that has like everything you theoretically need in it already mixed, and it's great. And so I bought a bunch of that, but it was super expensive comparatively to if I bought $1 top. So if I bought all of these things individually, but I was super nervous, and I wanted to make sure it worked. And so I spent all of this money on all of these premixed supplies, which is probably good initially, maybe, but you really don't have to do that. Like, plants will grow, and these isopods are pretty hardy, as long as you get hardy-ish isopods, which is what you want if you're going to do this as a setup and not as a pet or something.
Yeah.
So that group is definitely where I'd start. I wish I had done that earlier, just because that's a really good, like, that will point you in the direction of what your species is. But the basic premise is you want a drainage layer, like, think like pond rocks,
Right.
or something like that. Like, and then you put a screen over it, which on Amazon I look for like patio screening. So just like little holes, and I cut out a layer the size of the tank on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put your dirt on top, which is usually a mix of topsoil, and I use like some sort of coconut fiber, like jungle mix or something like that, eco earth, whatever. Topsoil, eco earth, and like sphagnum moss or peat moss. Sometimes a combination of both of those, who want sphagnum in there. And then like leaf litter and some bark on the top, with some plants thrown in. There's different ways you can do fun backgrounds, where I use, at this point I've gotten kind of fancy with making big like spray foam backgrounds that I then cut out and then make big branch things and all sorts of things. But that's the basic premise, is you just want to have that layer, so all your bugs can live in there, and you can have some plants in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you make, if I remember right, you make your own enclosures out of some Tupperwares, huh?
So that's not the bioactives.
Not the
So the
bioactives.
bioactives I use pretty much like exoteric, like the tall front
The
opening
glass ones,
exoteric
right?
type stuff. Yeah, because that's what the best viewing experience is. That's what most people are into. Because if you're gonna have a bioactive enclosure, it's really fun to look at it.
Sure.
And so that's what I use mostly for that. But then for hatchlings and things, I'll use Tupperware, and uh, with the isopods and stuff, that's really easy.
I gotcha. If anybody has any
Yeah, but I am
questions in the
thinking about,
chat, y'all go ahead and hit them up while we're talking here.
yeah. And I think one of the other things I wanted to hit on with bioactive too is with the snakes as well, is that one of the things about bioactives is that obviously plants need light, right? And so you've got grow lights on top of the enclosures. I have them on all of mine. But that also helps with the snake lighting and things as well. So that's part of the reason I want to experiment with this with snakes, is because I have been looking at a bunch of studies about that. Brian McVeigh have kind of pushed this on me, and that I've been looking at studies since then. And I came across some stuff where ever since the 1960s, there have been studies done about UVB and snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been it's all like unanimous in terms of showing that with UVB light, everything from Burmese pythons, and there's another one, corn snakes. Um, doesn't matter if it's nocturnal, diurnal, doesn't matter. That there's an increased calcidiol in the snakes, and calcidiol is really important for not just organ function but also immune function. And so one of the biggest issues in domestic and pet snakes is respiratory infections, right? And so and that immune function is directly correlated with this calcidiol. And so when we have snakes in rack systems and things like that, or just tanks that don't have UVB, we are diminishing that. And people think of many, not everybody, but lots of people think of ball pythons as pet rocks. Well, UVB is also directly correlated with like their circadian rhythms, and it helps with their sight as well. So there's some studies that also show that they can't see the whole spectrum of light without UVB. So it's like if it's like a few colors are taken away from our vision,
Right.
so they can't even see everything without UVB. And so it affects the amount that they move around. It affects like their feeding response sometimes, and so like there's studies that show that feeding response is increased with UVB. So lots of good things basically. And so if you have a bioactive enclosure, you're much more likely to just be able to stick a UVB light on that enclosure than if you have a rack system or something. So again, like even for my snakes, my long-term goal is to have big PVC enclosures where, even for my snakes, if it's just small, like having little cubes that are all next to each other on this big, wall of enclosures that can all have their lighting as well. I'm still looking to invest in a rack for now because I do not have the space. But I think that it's important, and I'm trying to figure out how to maybe have like Arcadia has a really good set of lights that are just like tube lights that have UVB and UVA and things like that, that I'm kind of looking into for that reason as well. Just because since the 60s we've known all this information, but we haven't done a whole lot with it because it's not as easy to put into. And obviously the snakes are fine without it, but they're not living their best potential, and they could be growing a lot faster and having fewer immune issues, theoretically. Not that all snakes have immune issues, but fewer respiratory infections, things like that, growing faster, all good things.
So future vet Emily is saying that we're killing all of our snakes by keeping them in racks.
What I'm saying, again, I am about to be buying a rack. So I am not saying that racks are terrible, but I'm saying that we as hobbyists can be doing better by our snakes. And even nocturnal ones. So nocturnal snakes still do something called cryptic basking, where they hide during the day and they're sleeping during the day, but maybe they'll leave a small amount of their body exposed to sunlight, where they're not seen by predators or anything, but they're still absorbing some of those UVB rays. So all types of species still do this. So I think that as hobbyists, there's certainly ways to make racks where we can still provide UVB to our snakes. We can create whatever we want, but we have to decide we want to create it, and we have to decide there's a market for it. And to decide that there's a market for it, more people need to know that it's a genuine, like, positive impact.
Yeah.
That affects our money because, everybody talks about, okay, it takes females longer to grow up. We want to make sure the females are healthy so they can reproduce, etc. And if we can do that faster in a very healthy way, or keep them healthier, then that impacts the money as well. So if you're going to say, okay, we got to make the money work, yeah, UVB lights aren't always the cheapest, but if you add up the saved time or the fewer missed meals, things like that, that all adds up as well. Or vet bills if there's a respiratory infection, things like that.
I have a really cool gecko or lizard or something on my wall.
On your wall? Why is it on your wall? I guess you are in Louisiana.
I am in Louisiana. Wow. I'm going to have to text this to you. I don't think it's going to show up on the camera.
Oh.
It's like...
I kind of see it.
It's like orange.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an outside wall. I'm in what was originally a carport. So, Yeah, that's really interesting. I almost want to
Yeah.
break free and go grab it.
You want something that's legged?
No, no, I don't want to keep it. Just want to
Send
show
it to
it.
me, I will. That's fair.
It's like so cute. Look at it. Look at it go.
Yeah. See, legged things are cute.
They're cute, but they don't do anything for me. So,
Oh,
let's see. So, we've got would
okay.
snake lighting be enough for the plants?
Um, maybe, but I say no. I don't. There's so much conflicting evidence. And also my second question for myself had been like, okay, is the grow lighting enough for the snakes? Um, because grow lights have both, because UVA is also beneficial. So it's not just UVB. So grow lights have some UVB and UVA, and you want full spectrum UV grow full spectrum grow lights. Which also the Facebook group that I mentioned, Reptile and Amphibian Bioactive Setups, they
Not
also
sponsored.
talk. Not sponsored, actually, really not sponsored. I just love this. I learned what I know from this group, or a lot of the, not all the things I know, but a lot of the things I know from this group. They are a huge, awesome resource. So more information can be found there, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nobody sponsors me. I'm not popular. It's
Yeah.
fine. They don't have any money to sponsor me with anyways. It's fine. But they have lots of things about lighting. So you want full spectrum, and that has some UVB and UVA, but
Easy
that
for you to
is
say.
not necessarily enough for your snakes. And the UVB and the UVA are only a part of the full spectrum. And so the plants really need kind of that full spectrum. And so the answer is maybe one or the other would be enough. But to be safe, I like to have the whole spectrum, and I need to find more studies on it, because it's hard to find studies on that specifically, because no one really does a whole lot of studies on, okay, is this good enough for reptiles or is this not? Because there's not a whole lot of studies on anything.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm gonna say something to Ross real quick. Hey man, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you liking the lights in the back. And yeah, I ran into, so I went to go pick up the two pastel Russo clowns from Troy last week, and I pull up and this guy's walking out with a box, and I'm like, that's not my snake, is it? Like, he's walking out with a reptile box. Like, how often do you see that?
What else would it,
huh?
like, what else would that be?
Right. Why are you stealing my snakes, bro? Like, come on, man. So
I wouldn't blame him, honestly. Those Russo clowns are awesome.
they are pretty awesome. So, so yeah. Anyway, gave him a card and said, "Hey, hit me up if you need something." So, appreciate you checking out the live, dude. That's awesome. And
Sorry, it's me.
huh?
Sorry, it's the live happens to be me. But,
Right.
you know.
Hey. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not ball python exclusive, so.
Sorry, it applies to ball pythons. I'm gonna my current ball pythons that are mine and not Foster's, for Friends of Scales. Little shout out to them. They're great. If you're in the Chicago area, adopt from them because they're great.
Yeah.
Once this all opens up again. But my own ball pythons are all in quarantine right now. But once they're not, I'm gonna play around with some bioactive stuff for them.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Mary says it's happened to me before. Seems like it's happened to me before with somebody sitting to my side on this live right now.
It's fine. In fairness, for those who don't know the story, I did not know I was stealing the snake until I already paid for it. Not that I would give it back.
Not that I blame her for not giving it back. That banana nanny, that banani is really nice. So,
and that's how we became such good friends, honestly. I mean, we had met before the theft.
That's what's even funnier.
Right.
Like
we had met and we got along.
Yeah, and she wasn't even staying at the hotel.
No, I wasn't.
And I was staying at the hotel, and I spent like 2 hours in Sean's room hanging out with him. And then, of course, Rachel's like, oh, well, down the hall, you were talking about Monarch. They got some Monarch stuff. So I went to go see Kyle and Liz. And then I was like,
they're great.
Oh, they're awesome. I love them to death. Anybody who decides they want to give an $800 snake away on one of my lives, I'm fine with them. Like, they're just my biggest fan. I'll be their biggest fan.
We loved them before that even happened.
It's true.
Like, they're great. Like, I'm the baby of Dabbed. for sure. I'm 24 years old. They're younger than I am, and they've been in this game for 5 years.
Yeah, they're over here producing like double visuals and monarchs and all this other crap. I'm like, get out of here, dude. Like how
I
old are
wanna
you?
live-
She's like 22. I'm like, stop it. Just you're cheating at life. If you guys are not following Kyle and Liz on
Royal
Instagram,
reptiles. They're great.
yeah, KE_royal_reptiles.
Mhm.
Awesome people, and yeah, they're really good people. I love them to death, and even though Liz has tried, she's stolen an animal from me too now. So
She did it more intentionally, though.
yeah, well
You're the
she
one who told her about the animal and you thought you were maybe gonna buy it.
and
You're
she did it,
like,
and I'm glad she did because let's be really honest, I probably wasn't gonna buy it. So
okay, but you've been shelling out money for these things like crazy.
well,
So also,
it's true. So I think I need to have you on more lives because it looks like half of the people in here are here for you. So
what?
yeah,
What is?
yeah, it looks like
I have not looked at the comments, so I don't know what's going on.
yeah.
At all,
So
but
Miranda's only here for Emily, and
I love
then
Miranda. It's fine.
Mary is hashtag Team Emily,
Oh
and
yeah.
then now Miranda feels old because you're 24.
Okay, but I'm the baby who's gone over this.
Welcome to the
Like,
group.
okay.
I feel old as well. And then Mary,
You are old.
but Mary is older, so she said that. So not I didn't say
Well,
that. She said that.
that's okay. But I'm also into your wife, and your wife is older than you are, but I'm not into you. Sorry. So
Eh, I can't win them all, I guess.
true, and you don't even want to, so it's fine.
Well,
This is why we're best friends.
this is
It's fine.
best friends. So
Don't even deny it. We have spent like 5 hours of our lives together today.
that's
It's a little
true.
ridiculous.
That's true. But
More
that's
than that at this point.
if I can be completely open and honest here, that's what I spend with Troy every day, just about. So,
Troy needs it for like his own sanity.
yeah, man. Like today with those he did you see his post that he lost that whole clutch?
No.
Yeah, like
What?
so he's got the black pewter hurricane head clown that I've got over here that he had put to his pastel clown. She slugged
Yeah.
out today.
No, all of them?
Yep. 100% slugged out.
Oh God, Troy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Is he in here? He's not
No,
in here.
I haven't seen him pop in. Hey, look, at least First Flight Reptiles is Team Brandon. That's awfully nice of him.
I lost one. Okay.
So, I got somebody.
I'm really just here to be the tits of the group, honestly. Let's be real.
Let's be real. Oh, so that's like the worst freaking timing for Miranda to put like a laughing, crying face in when I'm saying about the slug out, and then she's like, "Ha ha ha, so sad."
Oof.
I don't know how that works.
Yikes,
But-
Mariah.
Sure.
Yikes.
No,
It's okay.
Miranda, not M-Joy. I'm talking about M-Joy.
Yeah.
You said
Wait.
not
wait.
Mariah, not my kryptonite.
Yes.
She's
okay.
in here too,
I
by the way,
understand.
which
Yeah,
she didn't say.
That's why I was thinking her, because she was also in here.
But you know what? She didn't say she was Team Brandon, so she either left, but I don't know. So this is not sponsored
pretty
by.
much everyone is.
This isn't sponsored by them, but this is kind of interesting. It's Dr. Pepper and cream soda. So I had that in my. I had a little float with this, because the
See, I
gyms
don't drink
are
but-
opening back up.
So now you can just, do whatever you
Well,
want.
I can have at least one little fun thing. I know.
I mean, I can't judge, seeing as half my diet at this point is probably wine, and I never go to the gym, so,
Oh,
it's,
great.
but I do ride horses, and I'm on my feet all day when I'm at work, which is 11-hour days crammed into 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm really bright.
Wow. So even my wife says Team Hubby and Team Emily. I can't pick one.
You can sew, it's me.
Oh, I
love you.
swear to God, if that happens, then
I'm stealing your wife. I've decided this, Brandon.
that's fine.
I
That's
know
fine.
it's fine. You don't really have a chance. If you say it's fine, then it's going to be better
Yeah,
for you.
but remember, fine is never fine.
You're right.
So, can't pick between Billy and Austin. That might be true, but Billy picked Team Brandon.
I'm Team Austin. Sorry, Billy. I love you. but I'm Team Austin because I feel like that's only fair because Billy wins no matter what because they're his snakes. So I'd rather Austin win the eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Plus, Austin is pretty sweet. He puts in a lot of work behind that camera.
yeah, I'm with you, Miranda. I have not had any alcohol this quarantine either.
I couldn't do that.
I'm having
But
so much fun watching this little gecko lizard walking around my wall.
see, they're fun.
Well,
My geckos never make any noise, but it's that season where they're starting to make little noises to each other every once in a while, and they're all caged individually. Other than when I pair them maybe 1 or 2 days at a time, like twice a year, like because they retain sperm and stuff.
yeah,
But I hear them make little noises, and I never hear them make little noises. But this is the season they do it, and it's super cute.
yeah.
Legged things are cool, I swear.
I mean,
You held a skink
I
at B2's.
I did. I held a blue tongue skink. If you guys didn't watch my last YouTube video,
Yeah, watch his shit.
it was
It's really good.
it was pretty.
That's the first time I saw her. Sorry. Oh wait, but it's fine. Never
It's
mind.
totally fine. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Hung out with Brandon and Anna, and went to Wilbanks and toured his facility. It was a lot of fun.
Major FOMO, which you also found out what that meant.
FOMO. I didn't know what that meant. I'm so old. But what's even funnier is that Troy's older than me and he knows. But maybe it's because he's got an 18-year-old son. That might
That's
help.
probably valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now to be
But you have a 16-year-old daughter.
that doesn't live with me. So
That's true. That's also true. All right.
so
That's
I looked
valid.
uncomfortable holding the skink. I wasn't uncomfortable.
You did look a little uncomfortable. You felt like it looked like you felt out of place.
It was weird.
Maybe that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is the wrong.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't really do the legged stuff, and it didn't change me. They got like sharp little claws that was kind of weird, like it was.
Well, that's true. Skinks are weird.
Yeah.
I don't have skinks. Although I like monitors now, and I didn't think I was gonna like monitors, and now I want all the $10,000 monitors.
Can you tell the story about how you almost died?
I don't know if I really should tell that story.
Okay. Well, if you shouldn't, then we won't.
Yeah, I probably should.
Okay.
Tell that story.
Well,
if anyone wants to know, you can message me privately.
Yeah, maybe not broadcast it. So.
No, that's probably not wise.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's been fun. I live a really weird life, if anybody doesn't know.
Hey, look, there's B2 right there.
B2, where have you been?
To be fair, it isn't the nicest skink ever. Looked like you were squeezing it. I might have been squeezing it. Who knows?
Possible.
But
yeah, life.
Yeah. So what do you find most rewarding about working over at Cold Blooded Cafe?
Working with the number of species that I work with.
You might as well live with them when you're there.
I basically do.
Yeah.
Because I'm there. I mean, I open up and then I close down typically most days. Because I really do cram full time into there, which is not unusual. Like Steven Cush, guys, like he's the one who kind of runs things over there. Like Des owns it and Des puts in all the work too. But Steven's the one who kind of manages the rodent stuff and the reptile stuff. He's basically the manager. He does this every day of the week, 7 days a week. There's no days off for him. So I don't. That's insane to me.
Every day is a day off when you're doing that, though.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, it still feels like the weekend for me because I love it so much. But if I did it 7 days a week, I mean, I'm tired at the end of those long weekends. Like I'm there 3.5 days a week, and I'm on my feet for those 11 hours, and that's just with the reptile stuff. And he honestly mostly does rodent stuff at this point because he's going to manage all the employees and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I work with everything from crocs. Like there's one croc over there. It's an ivory spectacled caiman. It's the only ivory spectacled caiman in the entire world. There's one or two things where it's the only thing, and it's the only one of them in the United States at all.
Wow.
Zoos anyway. They've got ball pythons. It's not a huge thing they do, but like things like scrub pythons and emerald tree boas. There's one female that's pregnant, and she's gonna give birth any day now. It looks like you could like pop her with a pin.
Wow.
She's so And like I took pictures where her scales are just so spread apart right now.
That's so cool.
And I thought she was really going to go this weekend, but she didn't. It looked like she was going to go today, but then apparently she hasn't gone today. But there's scrub python eggs in the incubator. There's ball pythons in the incubator. There's some pregnant annulated tree boas, and there's 2 pairs that we're not positive. I don't remember where they got them from, but they're probably wild caughts, because there's no annulated tree boas anywhere that you can find for sale ever. But both females are pregnant from 2 different males, and so Steven said he'd sell me a pair if everything goes right. And so I'm super excited about that because I love all the weird boas.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
So, have you still been enjoying your olive pythons?
I love the olive pythons, but none of them are gravid, and I need to not pick up even more species because I'm really bad about that. I always told myself I was going to be really good about just not picking up too many species, but instead I've been good about having pairs of everything. There's nothing that I have where I don't at least have a pair of the species, but I now have four species, I think, and I've only really been doing this a year, like as a thing. So, and that doesn't include isopods. I've got a bazillion isopods, but those are easy. Those are on a shelf.
Hashtag roly-poly.
Hashtag roly-poly, indeed. But yeah, I post a lot when I'm over at Cold Blooded Cafe just because they're so freaking cool. I just work with such crazy stuff, and it's almost easy to take for granted when you're there every day. But then I look at some stuff again, and like blue tree monitors, man, like blue is apparently like the rarest color to find naturally in the wild. Like even blue jays aren't really blue; it's just how the sun hits their feathers. It's a whole photo response thing,
right?
And like those monitors are blue. It is like some of the bluest blue I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And like pictures I take do not do them any justice. And we're hopefully going to get some eggs there soon. And I'm like, I want a pair of those. Those are like $3,000 a piece monitors. That shouldn't happen. I don't really have any space for that either, like for the adults.
Right.
I'm like, well, but I'm going to move in like 4 years. I'm like, no, stop. I can enjoy them while they're there. I don't need my own. I need your help with some self-control probably, because
yeah.
For those of you who don't know, every time I want to stress, I'm really bad about stress buying things or wanting to stress buy things. I often do stress buy things, but I try not to make it huge purchases.
Like annulated boas.
Well, no.
I know we talked about this. I'm just making a joke. I'm just kidding.
And I haven't paid for those yet, but yeah, no, like that would be a huge stress purchase for anybody who doesn't know. That's there's gonna be a couple grand that goes into
yeah.
I'm getting cut a deal. It's fine. But no, I love being there, and I love learning about so many things because like before, like I knew nothing about anything that was green and a snake and lived in a tree. I could not have told you the difference between an emerald tree boa and any sort of like tree python. But here we are, and I've learned a ton, and I love it. And I didn't think I was going to love monitors because pretty much all my experience with monitors had been like with Nile monitors, and Nile monitors are terribly aggressive little creatures that aren't good pets. And I would say no monitor is a good pet, honestly. There is a wonderful 6-foot croc monitor named Kilo there that is she's great. I send pictures of her, like me petting her all the time, but croc monitors even specifically are known to be super aggressive and dangerous, so in general that's not a good idea, but she's great. But yeah. Oh, B2 asked some sort of question about white lips or bolins or something. Hold on. Oh, you'd like to get a pair of white lips or bolins. I would love bolins. Bolins are one of their dream species. We have a bunch of white lips there.
Yeah.
I don't think any are gravid right now.
White lips are really cool.
Yeah, there's 2 pairs of those. I know Ryan McVeigh has a couple too.
Yeah.
They're super neat.
Dude,
I've decided they're not for me.
Ryan was trying to get me so hard to start doing the Mexican king snakes again. Like
Mexican blacks.
yeah, the blacks. Yep. And
That's the one type of king snake that I might get into. We'll see.
yeah.
It's dark as my soul and stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I told him, I said, well, I might eventually get back into doing the the colubrids again. I do have a rack now to be able to house some of them, so it might happen. You never know.
Right. Well, and why? So you used to breed corns.
Yep.
Why when you got back into this? Did you decide to just do ball pythons?
So I think it was because there's just so many more options with the ball pythons now than there are with the corns. And the market for it is so much higher. They're easier to breed. And honestly, I like the more meaty snakes than I do the non-meaty snakes. I enjoy corn snakes. I do. I enjoy milk snakes. I think they're fun. King snakes, I've kept all those, most of my life. But there's just something about having an animal that will wrap around your arm or wrap around your neck and kind of just chill there with you, I mean, they're not as awesome as the doom rolls. I miss my doom rolls so much. Oh.
I will give you one for free when I produce some.
I would love that. And
I really will.
Oh, I miss them so much, and I'm so looking forward to my thanks B2 for the colubrid rack. I had a really cool striped California king, and I had a Mexican black, and I had an Abbott's king snake and a speckled and a gray banded. So I've had all kinds of those, and but I don't know, I can't wait for my Brazilian rainbow to get bigger so that I have, that on that side too. Cause I'm boas, like we've talked about, boas are still my number one love. And, I just don't think I'll ever breed them. I really don't.
Yeah. They are my first love. The difference between us in some ways is that you were in this game and then you left and then you came back and made your choices. But I'm new to this game all around. And the way I started was I volunteered for a reptile rescue in my undergrad town. And I started right off. I was volunteering cleaning every week before I started fostering when I had my own house there that I rented for 2 years. But the first things I ever brought home were boas, adult, big boas. And I fell in love with them and I loved them. And so the first snake I ever brought home before I even really planned on breeding anything was my female Doomerals boa constrictor. And and no regrets. That's the weirdest first snake of your own to have.
It is pretty weird. They're not exactly common.
No, but I was lucky to live somewhere where I lived in Madison, Wisconsin when I bought her, and there was a reptile store called Reptile Rapture, where I know the owner there, and he breeds some of his own stuff, and Doomerals are one of them, just because he really likes them. And so this had been a holdback female. So I went back because I had been looking at this male. It was the last Doomerals he had for sale. And I was looking at it one day, and then I left without it, and I was thinking about it, and I went over to my friends at the barn, and my friend at the barn, I ride horses as well, for those of you who don't know, was we're gonna go tomorrow, we're gonna go buy that snake.
She's single, guys. Snatch her up. Vet, horse rider, avid wine drinker, and she won't stop you from buying snakes.
I will encourage it heavily.
See?
There's a whole lot of problems there, but it's fine. We're going to glaze over those.
Totally fine. Fine is never fine, except for when you're buying reptiles.
Sure. You know how I stress by.
That's it.
He's the one who talks me out of stuff half the time, and God bless him, because I don't know it's amazing that we've only known each other for 2 months.
It really is.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible at this point, because we talk to each other way too much. It's fine. I'm pouring more wine. I'm not sorry about it. But Oh, that's the rest of the bottle. That's fine.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. It's her third of the night.
I'm Russian. It's fine.
Yeah, it's vodka then,
Um,
right?
uh, I have vodka in the freezer, but that's for other nights. This is not
It's
one of
not a
those
vodka
types of.
night. Yeah.
No, this is not a vodka. This is just a wine night. We're chilling, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So do you,
but yeah, so my first of my own was a Dumeral's boa constrictor, and then he was so we went back for this male, and he had sold the male like in those 24
oh
hours.
wow.
Um, and I was like, really? And he remembered me because I was in there like all the time, just like looking at stuff too. And like he actually the guy who came with me from the barn, my trainer like knew him personally and stuff too. And he was like, well, I have this female, like I'll show her to you because she's really cool because she has all this saturation. So he brings out the female and she is gorgeous and has all these pink and orange hues. Of course, I fell in love with this thing. And he's like, well, like after like 30 minutes of us just like talking and shooting the shit.
Night B2.
Night B2. Um, we were just shooting the shit for like a half an hour. He's like, well, I guess I'd sell her to you for the same price as I would have sold the male. And I was like, deal. So then I was like, well, I met this beautiful snake and I'm in love with boas. So let's get started with this. And then I was like, well, I want something with a faster turnaround time. And I'm also really into geckos. So I was like, well, should I do cresteds? But the market is really oversaturated with cresteds. And I was looking into gargoyles and I was like, well, these things are really cool. And now I'm hooked on the whole gargoyle thing. So I've got tons of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. The computer knows.
That's true.
And soon I'll have your rat cards. Shout out to Brandon's rat cards. Y'all should buy some.
They're pretty cool.
I'm not sponsored, but they're
Oh,
they're
they're
really great.
don't worry, it's sponsored. This
Oh,
video
it's
is sponsored by Morphs of Different Colors rat cards.
All right, this video is sponsored by Brandon's rat cards.
Yeah.
You should get some because they're sweet and they're beautiful, and you should ask him for some, and they're not expensive. And if you have Reptile Scan, which is super cheap, and if you don't have it, you should get it.
Not
Even though I don't
sponsored.
have it yet, I'm going to. Also not sponsored. That's definitely not sponsored. I don't even have it yet, but I know I'm going to as soon as finals are over because I have zero free time. Yeah, that's a good way to take care of things. And he puts the little like scan thing on them.
Yeah, the QR code. Yep.
His stuff. The QR code. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the word. I'm not good at technology. Sorry.
It's all good. I've got that
honestly.
under control, so we'll make it work.
Yeah, he knows that. He knows those things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know they're pretty and they're useful.
What she doesn't know though is that she keeps forgetting that for some reason her video switched and she's pointing at the chat every time she thinks she's pointing at me.
Sorry. Wow. It's true. So I'm when I turn right, it goes left.
Now you're looking at me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So see, I have to look this way too.
So I have to go this way and point at you. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go.
So look away from me, and I'll look away from you, and then we're gonna be looking at each other. Okay.
There we go.
So, all right.
Cool. Yeah.
Now that we got that
Everyone
done.
knows what I mean, all right?
What was that?
Everyone knows what I mean, okay?
I know, probably so.
Not
It's all
them,
good.
Whatever. Like that's their.
Yeah, that's their problem. God. So, do you think when you go and do your residency and become a real live true vet, do you think you're gonna want to specialize in reptiles?
So that's one of the thoughts. I think that radiology would be super cool, and that's probably my number one choice, like looking at x-rays and MRIs and things. And also that's living the life, because radiology is one of those things that you can sit on a beach in Aruba looking on your laptop at the things people send you, and you make more money than all of the people that send you things combined.
Nice.
By doing so, because you can do it from anywhere. You don't have to physically be in a clinic whatsoever. People send you images and things, you interpret them, and then you send them back, and your life is great. So that would be super cool. My grades need to be very slightly higher.
So less time talking to me and more time studying.
Okay, quarantine's weird though.
It's horrible.
Yeah, because I don't do well. So I will tell anybody, I am a bipolar schizophrenic with PTSD. And so I am very well regulated on medication, but being alone all the time is not great, which is why this job is really good for me, because at least that makes me see people and interact with like and be active versus sitting on a couch or a chair all day.
Right.
So at least my week is split up that way, which is good. So I've been so I asked, you know, course coordinators and things like that, like, all right, like I'm probably going to get a C this semester, which is lower than I'm used to getting. And he was like, honestly, you're fine. There's going to be a huge asterisk next to, you know, everybody's transcript for this semester. It's going to be fine. So, like, I'll pass my exams this week. It's fine. This is good for mental health, right?
Yeah.
Like, plus reptile talk. Like, and if I fail out of vet school, this is a solid second option.
It sure
right?
is. Yeah.
Like, you'll take care of me.
I got
B2
you.
has already said that B2 has already said that in the house that he's gonna like buy or whatever. He's just gonna have a gargoyle room that I can live in. So I'll just live in an enclosure. There.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. That would be pretty interesting to see how that goes.
As long as he bought me enough wine, it's fine.
Yeah. Have either of you handled habu or mamushi snakes before? No.
No, I have not.
Nope.
I don't even know what those are.
I know it's not.
To be honest with you.
It sounded like a sneeze. Habu. No, I'm pretty dense when it gets outside of the standard stuff. So
yeah, I've gotten better with non-standard stuff.
I guess so. Look where you work. Yeah.
With where I work, I've gotten better, but with stuff that they don't have, and I have Taiwanese beauty snakes, which are pures, and there's only like one or two other people in the country that have pures. But still, like, that's not, I don't know, other people have heard of beauty snakes and things like that. It's still not that weird.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they're pures. So I've gotten better with weird species, but not that good apparently.
Right, not that good.
I don't know.
Yeah, so let's see. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we should do this more. This is fun.
We should.
I know some things. It's just not all ball python stuff, which is most of your viewership. Sorry.
Right. Well, that's fine. Stuff, you know, but it's okay. The ball python community could really stand to get, you know, checked in their place a little bit, in our place, because let's be real, I'm one of them. But at least
recognize that codoms are not actually codoms.
We should totally do that.
I could have a whole conversation about genetics.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And
because I love the ball python community for what it is, but y'all have your own little world.
They do. That's where I'll say they do, because I came from colubrids, so it's definitely a lot different. And I've been kind of blowing it up a little bit, and
appreciate that.
Yeah, and
that's what too.
Yeah, I've messed up B2 a little bit. It's
He can be checked.
Yeah, he straight. I was like, yeah, what about this? And he goes, you're so right. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm like, yeah, so all of these things are recessive. He goes, there is no recessive. I'm like, that's okay. Now we're gone. And
right.
But so Shane says that those snakes are native to Japanese mainland and Okinawa. Really pretty snakes, but very venomous, and that is why I don't mess with them.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I think venomous is beautiful.
Yes.
But I don't work with anything venomous other than Cold Blood Cafe. They do have beaded lizards, Gila monsters. They do have those. I won't touch them. I will change their water bowls, and I will spot clean them when they are on the opposite ends of their enclosures.
Yeah.
But I don't mess with it because I am in way too much debt to lose my hands and not be able to do surgery.
That's
For those
true.
of you who don't know, veterinary school when you're out of state, which I had no in-state vet school, I pay about $75,000 a year, and people are like, you guys get paid by like dog food companies to and like sponsored by dog food companies to like push their products, and I'm like, okay, I got a pen from them once. What are you talking about? What am I missing?
Right.
So if anyone thinks that vets are trying to steal your money, we're just trying to eat. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think we definitely should try to get one of these together with B2. Also, the three of us can go back and forth about genetics. I think that would be a really fun one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Get all three of us in a room, and it's gonna get wild.
Hell,
so watch out.
Hell, I could get Troy in on it too. We can do this 4-way. I'm just saying.
Do Skypes. Oh, don't make it an orgy now.
Well, just a 4-way. Just a 4-way.
Oh, that's true. Orgy, I would say, is 5.
Yeah, 5 or more, I would think. So, Yeah, even if you weren't in debt from school, American healthcare would still do you dirty. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having a good time. Let's get political. Let's not get political.
That's we still want to be monetized and maybe have some sort of following. Maybe
Yeah.
I guess everyone follow B1. Brandon morphs a different color. There, I'm gonna point the right direction now.
Hey,
There.
thank you.
Everyone follow
Thank
him because
you.
he's cool. And he actually has real social media platform. If you guys want to support me, I mean, you can follow my Instagram. If you're, it's like it's a
It's a
combination
Modge
of
Podge.
personal,
Yeah.
right? It's a hodgepodge of like personal account and reptile things, but it's just kind of my entire life. But if you guys just want reptile isopod stuff, then like my Facebook page is the way to go. I only like Eckelberg Exotics is my company, which Eckelberg is not my last name. Common misconception. It's from The Great Gatsby. It's a reference there. I'm obsessed with The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
And
yeah.
and
So follow that.
I would say definitely follow her on Instagram as well because her stories, especially when she's working at Cold Blooded Cafe, are pretty phenomenal. So you'll get to see a lot of cool animals over there, and she likes to scratch all of them under the chin. That's like her favorite thing to do. And
Well, that's what they like too, you know?
I know,
Like, I don't want to piss them off
I
either
know.
because getting bit by a croc monitor is just as bad as getting bit by that croc monitor. Like, it's a lot smaller physically, but it would be about just as bad as getting bit by a 4-foot actual croc.
Hey, look,
Like,
there's
they
Troy
like,
right there.
Troy,
We
how
were
are
just
you, dude?
we were just talking about getting a four-way chat going on here with you, B2, myself, and Emily, and talking genetics and other things. I figured that would be a fun, have two GEDs and two higher educateds in here and really smash it out. So
Yeah.
Team
Oh,
Emily.
yeah, your team,
That's so
Emily.
screwed up,
We do
man.
that.
Like I talk to you more than like anybody in the world other than my wife, and like your Team Emily still. That's some. I'm just gonna say it, and I reserve this word for very, very special occasions. That is malarkey, sir. Malarkey.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
I know. I don't know. So anyway, no, I didn't see your text. I've been
Troy,
live,
call me
bro.
too.
I don't look at my phone when I'm live.
Now you're ignoring him. That's why he's Team Emily. No, he's been Team Emily since
Oh,
we started
fingers
Team Brand.
crossed, buddy. He
What's
says
up?
one egg, possibly another. I thought I felt something in her after getting the slugs.
Ooh,
Please, man, I hope so, brother.
I really hope for you, dude.
Oh, man, I hope that works out, dude.
For you.
That's crazy. So, um,
Okay.
yeah. So he says deal. So yeah, let's maybe we can try and make that happen
Absolutely.
coming up this weekend or or I would say not this weekend. That doesn't
Like
make any
during
sense.
the week,
That
I've
makes
got a
no
lot
sense.
to say. I have terrible Wi-Fi when I'm in Indy in terms of I wouldn't trust my Wi-Fi in Indy to be on this myself. So let's do when I'm home, like during the week. During the week would be fine.
Yeah, it's yeah, we definitely need to, but once starting Friday, I wake up at 4:15 again.
I'm
So,
proud of you. I really am impressed. I mean, that's what's good for your mental health. Like
yes,
that's like you need that.
I do.
I wish I were better about it. My doctor finally gave me the go ahead to start working out again because I had stopped for a long time because we were wondering like, okay, do I need spinal surgery because I've had a bunch of back issues. But then I was told I'm too high risk for back surgery. So just start exercising again so that you're stronger and there's like less like
Yeah.
strain on your back or whatever. So I need you to like push me to like be a real person and maybe be fit again. Maybe.
Yeah. Let's try
I'm not
this
gonna.
on Wednesday then. Let's do it Wednesday. That way I can get this going. We can do the talk on Wednesday night. And then I can try and get to bed early Thursday night to get up early on Friday. So cuz yeah, I'm about to hit it hard. I got to get this back. I'm so miserable. I'm tired of feeling sluggish. I'm tired of being tired.
You're going stir crazy.
I am.
Anybody who talks to you at all personally knows you're stir crazy.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm not even going to try and I don't try and hide it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But you don't even specifically say it's because you're not at the gym. I mean, at first you did. At first you were like, oh my God, my life is ending. And you would say it all the time. But it's been a couple months since this has been a thing for you.
I
And you
stopped
haven't said
talking
it
about it.
then.
Yeah.
But I know. Anybody who actually knows you knows.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was,
it's been
I feel bad for April, honestly, because she has to deal with it 24/7, not just when we're on the phone with you.
I
Like
mean,
for me, like today, it was like 2 hours with me, probably an hour and a half with Troy, a few hours alive.
yeah, I was on the phone with Ben from R&B this morning for about an hour, and then I had the stuff with my mom to talk to her. So or about
You've been on the phone all
I
day.
have been on the phone all day. But that's most days, honestly. Since I've been doing this, it's been most days. So I am looking forward to getting my gym time back and seeing my people that I work out with in the morning and lifting heavy things over my head again. Like that's really gonna feel good to get back into the powerlifting and be sore and all of that. So, but
Being sore is one of the best feelings in the world. I will say
yeah,
that.
yeah. I really enjoyed
Like,
last weekend getting to work out with Strike Serpents when I was in Oklahoma hanging out with B2. Uh, that was so. I mean, I just felt so myself, and it's amazing. Uh, yeah, I talk to you a couple times every day, Troy. Like, honest to God, like, and it's so funny because he's like, I know I'm always bothering you. I'm always bothering you, and and then I'm like, no, no, no. You're always talking to me. You rarely bother me. Like,
right, there's a difference.
yeah,
Like, I don't
he
know.
doesn't bother me at all. Like we talk about things. He does. He's very indecisive, and he comes to me and he asks. But I love talking about this stuff,
Right,
so it's never a bother.
right, right. There's a difference. And if you didn't like him or something, then that would be one thing. But then you would be saying different things or in shorter answers to get him to answer less. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like we have that same
for
relationship then.
sure.
Like, you could definitely have shorter answers, but then you ask me stuff and I'm like, okay, like, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, for no doubt. So, well,
You probably talk to him more than me, but
I do. I
probably not by a whole lot.
uh I don't know. I mean, it's you're probably number two. I don't think there's any question. The only one that would be close to that would be Brandon.
Yeah.
And then Anna's like definitely right behind the two of you. So I would say you're like probably 2A, 2B, and then but Troy's definitely one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
April's like
Nothing.
way down at the bottom, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Like I've just been the worst husband during all of this.
You
Um,
only live with her.
yeah. So
It's
yeah.
okay, April. I'll take you. If you don't want him anymore, you can come live here.
Uh,
It's a small condo, but we'll get real comfy, honey.
oh man. All right. Well, on that note, I am going to sign off of here.
Sounds good.
That was
Real quick, just if you go on my Facebook page
yeah.
and
Throw
you
it out
see
there
my
again.
isopods, you want to buy some isopods, mention this live/YouTube video, and I will give you a 10% discount. Um, and Cold Blood Cafe, we're running a huge sale right now on mice and rats, frozen rodents. It's $30 flat rate shipping everywhere in the country. You cannot beat that. The rodents are fed the absolute best. I had a snake that would not eat frozen thawed, and then the first time I offered Cold Blooded Cafe, it took it. So if you're having feeding issues,
Yeah.
um,
Eh,
yeah. So check out both of those things.
yeah.
I'd appreciate.
And if you could on your way out, make sure you like the video. Make sure if you're subscribed or if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Don't accidentally unsubscribe. Please don't do that.
So
Hit the notification bell. That way you know when I go live next time. And I'm getting off here to call him. Y'all are the best.
no.
Y'all are the best. Anyway, I appreciate everybody hanging out. Yeah, and Miranda, I think I've got something kind of figured out for our shipping with the ASFs. So we will totally figure it out. And you guys have a good night, and we will see you back here on Wednesday probably with a nice four-way chat with Brandon and Troy and Emily. So we'll do this all over again on that day. So make sure tomorrow night you catch the live on Instagram with me and R&B. We're giving away
It's gonna be a
some
giveaway, guys.
tasty cakes. You have to be there to watch it or to get it. And he wanted to give away some pies because everybody gives away pies. So yeah, y'all have a good night, and we will talk to you guys later.
Finger
All right.
guns.
Yep. Finger guns. Yep. That's it.
That's your thing.
I know. I don't know what to do with my hands. So,
I know. I noticed. So
all
it's
right.
also the
Okay.
Bye.
So we are